What's up, people? We are back with more of Danganronpa 2, Chapter 4, Class Trial is upon us. We already entered Monokuma Rock and we are inside the elevator going down right now because, well, unlike in the other class trials where we have to go to Monokuma Rock came to us instead because we were quote-unquote stuck in the funhouse, or you know. So yeah, we'll go over the truth bullets and everything in a while, but let's just finish this particular scene first. The elevator shook violently as it descended at an ever-increasing speed.
Hey!
We're in a normal elevator that shakes this bad. It reminds me how efficient that elevator in the funhouse was.
Well, yeah.
That's probably true. The elevator continued to shake. One thing that we know or could deduce from this, right? Not only from Nagito's sort of reaction saying how what he saw, even though we don't know what he saw, but it's like, you know, the thing that we know for sure is that how we think the funhouse is structured and the layout of it isn't how it is at all, or isn't exactly like that, you know? And it has something to do with things turning 180 degrees. And the fact that this elevator, it goes down and it shakes a lot as well. And that's the elevator the other one didn't. It didn't shake at all. It was very smooth, and according to the compass, it turned 180 degrees. Now the fact that it doesn't shake, I guess we can cross off the list that it just doesn't go down. So it could travel sideways, or you know, I don't know. But I feel like that's a really key mystery to this entire class trial and murder as well. The elevator continued to shake and descended deeper and deeper. And suddenly, it stopped, like it always does. And the door opened. And we're here again.
Well now,
I understand your desire to applaud this wonderfully vulgar trial ground.
yahoo!
But it's so exhausting to discuss useless things. So let's get on with it already. So sad. My chest hurts. Forcing everyone to do this is so sad.
Hey, come on now.
Hey! Don't go talking without permission after I've said my catchphrase.
Now I'm really angry.
Otherwise, I'll roll a dice, and based on the result, I'll give you a sex change operation that many times. Hopefully it's an even amount of times then. Because then at least you won't end up having a different sex at the end, right? What an extreme punishment.
Now then.
Let's get on with it once again. Let's get a move on, boys and girls. And so it begins. I hope this would never happen again. And now it's happening for the 4th time. Well, buckle up, Hajime. 2 more times to go, probably. If there are 6 chapters as well. The curtain to the 4th class trial was about to open. Mekamaru. Nekomaru Nidai, the ultimate team manager. He was more passionate, more daring, more honest than anyone I'd ever met. Truly, he was more man than any of us, despite being a robot. He sacrificed his body to protect Akane twice. His appearance changed drastically because of that. But he still tried to live earnestly. And just when I finally got used to his new form, Nekomaru's killer is one of us. Killing someone because it's the only way to survive is no excuse. I won't let this be excused. I won't forgive this. The person who betrayed Nekomaru, who betrayed their friends. I will never, ever forgive them. And so, this life-threatening trial, billowing with hope and despair, has begun. Alright, truth bullets, let's go over it fairly quickly. The body was discovered in Great Tower. Yeah, Mekamaru. His head is severely damaged and beyond repair. Shall be considered. Despite the fact that his arms and legs are dismembered, these limbs are actually designed to be detachable, and it seems they separated due to severe impact. So the fact that his limbs and arms like, you know, that they are detached from his body, dismembered, doesn't necessarily mean that that's what the killer aimed at him for, right? Okay, first things first, I'm saying the killer, right? But the seed, because of what Nagito found, right, and said about how the result of the class trials and also some of the killing rather, is very, very reminiscent and of the killings that happened, how they happened in Danganronpa 1, right? Chapter 3 in Danganronpa 1, there were 2 murders. Here as well, Chapter 3, or 3rd class trial, 2 people were killed. Here, or in Chapter 4 rather, in Danganronpa 1, Sakura, you know, she committed suicide. Here, that's the you know, the train of thought that they kind of want us to lead towards, that this could also be a suicide. The thing is, I'm not sure if we hadn't gained that information from Nagito, or if, you know, then I'm not sure if I personally would have gone on this train of thought as quickly as I had now. Because the moment it's just mentioned, it's like, hey, wait, could it actually be true? And you start to try and piece the sort of evidence and clues towards that particular direction, right? Hey, could this be suicide? Could this be something Nekomaru did? And because of that seed being planted in my brain, it's like, I want to agree with it. And I actually think at the end of the day it's probably going to end up being a suicide as well, but it's one of those things, you know? It's like, even though the seed is there, they could change it just at any fucking point and say like, well, up until here it's quite accurate until Danganronpa 1, but now we're just gonna take an entirely different route. So, yeah, but one thing that we do have to keep in mind in that is it could definitely be a suicide. So the fact that it here says it's the impact, right? The impact that seems to have separated his limbs, so his legs and arms. One thing that fell over is that huge pillar right next to him, but what Chiaki found is that the fragments of the stone fragments, or you know, the pillar fragments, the tiny pebbles, was underneath the body rather than on top, meaning that the body fell after, you know, the pillar fell, or at least, you know, the body was placed on there at that exact position after the pillar fell. So that's, and it seems to have the detached body, it seems to be from impact. There was no time of death. That was kind of weird, because it's usually in most Monokuma files, although it wasn't in the previous case because it was an important fact there. So here it might be an important fact as well. Considering there were, like, you know, several times mentioned, as well as with the alarm clock, there will probably be one of the truth bullets at some point. Yeah. Aside from that, several other areas of his bodies are damaged because of this. Many of his functions seem to have shut down. So two, like, really important areas is that just basically his head. His head was caved in, and that, I guess that thing at the back of his neck, which is where the good night button is. And then that chest cavity, right? The left chest plate. Alright, next one, wire. Nekomaru's body and left leg were tied up in a middle wire, and the tip of that wire was also tied in a loop. So this, I had two theories about this. Either someone planted this and then, I don't know, somehow lured Nekomaru into coming into this, in the position where his leg could get caught in that loop and then he would hang upside down. And then also, because the fact is that there was like blood on the top of the pillar, that is, he bumped his head into that, and that's how the pillar fell, blah blah blah. So that's one thing, but like the fact that there's a new, like, kind of a noose here, or a loop with made of the wire, really makes it seem more of a trap rather than Nekomaru doing this to himself, you know, because this is the kind of the sucky thing that I'm going into this class trial with sort of something already planted in my mind, like this is probably a suicide, but you know, so I'm trying to think of it from both sides. It could either be a suicide or someone killed him. But that's the thing, like, this is actually, for me personally, seems to point more that someone might have actually done this to him, you know? Because if you're committing a suicide, why would you tie a noose around your leg, then probably hang yourself upside down? And look, his arms and legs are all tied up in the wire as well. That's really strange to me. I mean, if it ends up being a suicide, there will probably be a very good reason behind it, but I can't think of any at the moment right now. Alright, the good night button, the button on the back of Nekomaru's neck. When the button is pressed, all of Nekomaru's functions cease and he is forced to enter sleep mode. This was a particular vulnerability and weakness in Nekomaru, basically, or Mekamaru, you know? The fact that there's one button and just all your vitals kind of shut off. So, yeah, it seems like someone has broken or yeah, has or wanted to break through it with force, which is why a part of it is just, you know, scraped off or like broken off. Oil on the floor, oil was flowing out of the body. Majority of it came from his fatal head wound, which this is the thing that also points to me that he was, regardless of whether the noose and hanging upside down in the air, whether he did that to himself or someone else did it to him, it seems that this is going to tie in with something later that I'll probably go over back then, later then. But it seems to have ties in with that he just once at some point like the wire just fell, dropped, and he fell on his head, and then that's when all the oil leaked onto the floor together with his head being dismembered. That seems the most logical conclusion for me. Tipped over a pillar. One of the pillar on the side of the door was tipped over. The damage of the area was also sustained. This lie was also heavy that even two people couldn't budge it. So the fact that Akane and Hajime, although they two aren't really the two strongest people combined, I guess, although there aren't really many muscle people alive anymore, right? The only one was actually Nekomaru, but yeah, he died during this class trial. So the fact that Akane, which is probably one of the stronger people here, if not the strongest alive at the moment, can't lift that thing means that nothing can freaking lift those things, okay? So that's the thing that we can, I think, with 99.5% certainty just cross off the list. That nobody moved the fucking pillars, which means that it's either the blood on top is either, I think I said it at the very beginning, it's either someone stupidly thought like, oh, I'm gonna make it look like he hit his head against it, but then why do it at the top of it? So the most obvious thing to me is that, as I kind of said, right, that if he stepped into that noose or loop and got caught up and he hung upside down and he swung his body a little bit and his head just bumped into that top side of the pillar, and that's how the pillar fell over, and the fact that his, I don't know how weak his body is, you know, because a light bump against the pillar, well, okay, it's a huge freaking pillar, so the bump can't be light for it to fall, so it must have been a pretty, you know, heavy bump into it. But still, is it enough for like a robot to start leaking oil, which is kind of the, you know, equivalent to a person bleeding? I don't know. New looking hammer. An enormous hammer found on the floor of the tower. It was almost completely clean, or it was actually completely clean, almost as if it was brand new. The fact that there's a weapon here means that this is definitely that someone took from the final dead room. That's, I think, a conclusion as well that's fairly certain to make, right? There's no other place that this hammer was, and it's a weapon as well, or it can be considered a weapon. It can also be just considered a tool to just, you know, use for building stuff or whatever, hammering stuff, but I'm pretty sure that it would be in the final dead room as a reward. So yeah, but the thing that we have to keep in mind is, right, is if this murder was a suicide, is that if it is similar to the Sakura case as well, is that several people thought that they killed Sakura, but in the end she didn't really die. Now that is something that could be happening here as well, you know, because there are several wounds on his body. It's just like maybe several people intended to kill Nekomaru, but just couldn't due to the fact that he is a robot, meaning his body is more resistant towards damage and everything else and killing than a normal human body, you know. And the thing was kind of with Sakura as well, like, she got hit on the head with a bottle once, like, from normal people, I'd be like, oh, fuck, KO. Sakura, she just, like, stood back up, like, what the fuck just happened, you know? So, she was more resistant as well. I don't know why, maybe it's the steroids, I'm joking, she wasn't on steroids, I think. But, you know, it seems like that could be similar here as well, that several people thought that they killed Nekomaru, but, you know, ended up not killing him, he actually just survived it instead. Another thing we have to keep in mind is actually the person that was closest to Sakura and Danganronpa tried to actually kill Sakura as well, right? Hina tried to do that. So did Akane try to do something similar here as well? Like, if we're really going to do like all the similarities and think of it like it went almost exactly like that, we gotta take certain things into account as well and kind of compare that. Like, is that exactly what happened as well? But that's only something we'll figure out during the class trial. We can't we can assume things now, but we'll find out the truth about that later. So a chain was wrapped around the handles of the door. This was the weirdest fucking thing, right? The fact that when we entered from the other side, the chains disappeared. That's the weirdest fucking part. Which seems to me, right, the fact that this, I think I said back down that the room kind of turns in 180 rather than that this room stays static. Like we traveled from, I think, from Grape House all the way to the side of Strawberry House and entered then from Strawberry House. And then everything looks similar. It looked in, well, it wasn't in a similar position because it was, the body was actually further away from us as well, and the pillar as well that fell over. So that makes it seem like it turned 180 degrees, right? Because we turned, and then the body turned with us as well, and we went to the other side, which is also like 180 degrees. So the room okay, I'm convinced myself that now. That the room in the middle turned 180 degrees as well. But did are the doors attached to the room, or is it like a separate entity? Not entity, but it could be like that the room in the middle is like separate from, there's a layer inside the room, you know, that the room, this is too complicated, but it's like there are two layers inside. One, the outer layer has the door attached to it, and the inner layer is just the inside of the room. It's probably too complicated, and it's really hard to explain, I feel, but that's a thought on my mind which could make the change sort of disappear. But there's something more important about this later as well. Akane's account, apparently Akane heard a rumbling noise at around 5:30 a.m. Alright. Small pieces of stone scattered underneath, or there were no fragments on top of his body. That's the important thing, they were underneath, not on top. Which makes it seem that the pillar fell first, and then Nekomaru's body fell on top. Or someone placed it on top, but that seems unlikely considering nobody has the physical strength to do that. Apparently Fuyuhiko's account. Apparently Fuyuhiko saw Nekomaru walking towards the first floor Strawberry House at 5 a.m. Alright, at the wall clock. At 5:30 a.m. the alarm of the wall clock started going off. Yeah. Fuyuhiko was at the lounge by coincidence, he said, and managed to stop the alarm because reaching around rushed over after being alerted by the sound. However, Nagito was apparently the only one who didn't hear it. That's strange why he didn't hear it. Don't know why, but apparently he did not hear it at all. The contact elevator used to move between both floors was broken and no longer worked. It was apparently broken at the Grape House side, so the last person to use it would have arrived at Grape House. The thing that spoke to me, right, is that Nekomaru left from Strawberry House through the elevator to Grape House, then broke the elevator there for some reason, and then I don't know if he decided to commit suicide at that point. I don't know why. That's the biggest part. It's so tough to figure out before the class trial. Like, why exactly do you think he would do that? Like, if you commit suicide, why are you trying to go through this elaborate plan of like, I'm gonna commit suicide at this side and then close all this? But it seems to be very similar to once again the Sakura murder with the locked room, blah blah blah, yada yada yada. Strawberry's hall button, the button in the Strawberry hall that opens the door leading to the tower was broken. That means he doesn't want us to. If Nekomaru broke this, that means that he doesn't want us to enter it from this side, and it was effectively to. I'm not sure if that was the intention of either Nekomaru or the killer, but it was a sort of side effect at the very least. Maybe it was more, maybe it was the intended effect, but it was definitely a side effect at the very least, that it sort of split us up, right? Elevator broken and this door broken means that we were split up, and only one half of the Grape House could only investigate the murder, and the people in the Strawberry House couldn't investigate the murder. So we were really split up and really sort of, at that point at least, thought handicapped to actually do full investigations, every single person, for the class trial to be properly prepared like we would want to be in a life and death class trial, you know? Nagito's sudden appearance. Nagito was supposed to be at Strawberry House, but he appeared at Grape House via some unknown method. The contact elevator should have been broken. This is an interesting thing. So I think Nagito said it as well, right? The thing that happened once he left the final dead room and completed it, he completed the life-threatening game with the Russian roulette, and then he looked out the window and then he was like mind blown, like, that's how it is, okay, that explains everything, it's not how we think it is, blah 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 blah, right? The structure of the house. And then the important thing is that there was like a hatch there, which I think he said it, I'm almost certain he said it actually to Hajime himself, that he said that it grants him access from Strawberry House through the Grape House without using the elevator. So it's then, I guess, safe to assume that that hatch just leads towards Grape House. But the thing that we have to take into account is that Nagito, one thing we know for sure about Nagito, right, is that he said it granted him unobstructed passageway, right? So one thing, that seems to speak to me that once you have completed the final dead room, you don't have to do the puzzles and everything again, right? You don't have to solve it again. You don't have to go through the life-threatening game again either. Once you have solved it once, you can just use that room every single time, and it's not gonna, you know, it'll just be free passageway every single time. So one thing we have to take into account that another person is that, first of all, before we go to move on to the other person, is that the fact that Nagito had to go through it and complete the puzzles and the life-threatening game means that was his first time. When we played as Nagito and did the whole thing at the life-threatening room, or the whatever room, final dead room, is that was his first time doing it and he succeeded. So that hammer appeared before then, right? That means the hammer was from the weapon room there, meaning someone else completed the final dead room before us as well, meaning that person who got the weapon from the weapon room and completed the final dead room and life-threatening game means that person has unobstructed passageway through from Grape House to Strawberry House and back and forth as well. So despite the elevator probably being still broken at that point. So that's something you have to take into account. You can't just say it's as black and white as like, oh, Nekomaru died at Grape House, someone from Grape House must have murdered him. No, that person, imagine one person from Strawberry House did complete the final dead room, they traveled through the hatch at the end, went into Grape House. Although, I'm not sure if it said, did he say back and forth? I think I'm not sure if he said it, but I'm just going to assume that it does do it back and forth, and that just makes it so that someone from Strawberry House can go to Grape House, kill, for example, Nekomaru, that's the victim here, right? And then go back through the same passageway, but then in reverse, back to Strawberry House. So, because the thing is, like, the fact that it's split up makes it kind of easy to or some people might write off, like, okay, nobody in Strawberry House killed anyone there, okay? But this is one way that it's connected still. This is a connection between both houses, despite the elevator not working. Kazuichi's gone. Apparently the compass and needle spun 180 degrees while it was inside the contact elevator. This is a really key issue and thing that I can't really figure out with the limited time that I've spent about thinking about it, which is not that much, to be honest. I don't think about this game that much besides outside of the videos, right? So all of the thinking that you hear me do about Clash Trials and theories and everything is basically all that I'm saying throughout the videos as well. Outside of it, I do very little thinking about it. Basically because I don't really want you guys to miss out on, like, for example, if I come to a startling revelation, it's much better to do it in a video than like in real life, and they're like, oh guys, and then I'll just tell you about it, because it's not that exciting, at least for me personally. Like, it just feels more real for me in a sense, and hopefully comes that way across for you guys as well, more real, that if I come across, if I figure it out myself during the recording while playing through it rather than outside of it, you know. Clock alarm timer. Oh yeah, the fact that it's at 7:30. Nekomaru used his alarm clock to recover from sleep mode. The clock's alarm stopped at around 7:30, and the alarm was set at 7:30 as well. That is the weirdest thing. The alarm, I think, was it tied to his? I think it is, right? It was tied to his body. So if his body dies, the clock alarm, or the clock, whatever, the timer, it stops as well, right? So it's kind of like the batteries. If you were to, I guess, look at it from that perspective, Nekomaru is the battery behind this clock. The battery dies, the clock stops working, right? So the fact that it stopped working at 7:30 seems to hint that Nekomaru actually died at 7:30, but that should be impossible, considering the fact that Monokuma Taichi was at 7 a.m. and we found the body right after 7 a.m. and not 7:30, and the body announcement thingy went off as well. So that seems to say already that, okay, Nekomaru is definitely dead. So why is it like hours ahead or something? And the thing was that it was said during exploration, I believe, very early on when we were at the amusement park, is that this clock is extremely accurate to like the second or millisecond even. So if any of the clocks is wrong, because if any of the clocks are wrong, it's definitely not this one. So I think the theory that I said earlier is that perhaps the clock or the time in the grape house and strawberry house are actually set at a different time. Like for example, they just put it 1 hour or a couple hours earlier or something like that, you know? Because it's strange for Nekomaru to set the alarm at 7:30 when, you know, you can't be late for Monokuma Taichi, and Monokuma Taichi ends or starts at 7 a.m. So why set the alarm a half hour after Monokuma Taichi starts when you're supposed to be there at 7 as well? So that doesn't make much sense. So the weird thing is then, is that either Nekomaru's internal clock or body or whatever, or he just knew that the clock on the wall of the lounges weren't correct and his inner time is correct, so he just did the time conversions correctly himself. But the thing is that Nekomaru was spotted at, what was it? 5 a.m. by Fuyuhiko. So I'm trying to think of like how much time difference would there be, but if you leave at 5 a.m. and you set the alarm at 30 minutes, the logical will be 30 minutes before then, so you then set it at 4:30, 3 hours, I don't fucking know. Let's move on. Radio clock, because they'll probably just come up during the class trial anyway. Well, I could actually say that about every single truth bullet, of course, but I still want to go into it having thought about every single truth bullet at least a little bit, because it makes the thought process and, you know, makes the class trial go a lot smoother as well. Because otherwise during class trials I have to think like, oh shit, what did this thing do again? But if I actually read it through it ahead of time and think about it a little bit, it's fresh in my mind, so it's easier to use it and easier for me to find all the contradictions and stuff as well. Radio clock, the clock in Nekomaru's chest receives radio waves at fixed intervals and is automatically adjusted itself if its time is off. Basically, it's an amazingly precise clock that can't be tampered with, not even to set the time. So this time, according to what time zone it is or whatever, it is exactly as it is in that location, right? So another thing could be that for some fucking reason in the tower it's just in a different time period. The time, I don't know, time is 3 hours later there or something, some weird shit like that, but that could be a possibility as well. If the clocks in the lounges are correct and Nekomaru's body clock or radio clock is correct as well, then some weird shit is going on in the tower which fucks up with time or something. A broken doorknob found on the pillar. Yeah, this is one of the things that I thought of, and this is the fucked up thing, right? Is that if, regardless of whether Nekomaru like hung himself with that metal wire or someone else made him do it, the metal wire was, I think, attached to this doorknob, right? I think it was attached to this doorknob, which was the one on the grape door. Yeah, because that one flew off, and then when the room switched, or we entered from Strawberry House, we actually saw that a doorknob was missing from grape door. So I feel like the wire, you know, you have to set it, anchor it at a specific location at the wire, and then someone falls in it and it just pulls it up, and then Nekomaru is swinging upside down, and it seems to have been attached to this, and that's kind of why the scratches are on it as well. I think the metal wire was just wrapped around this doorknob, and my theory back then was that when the moment someone then opened opened the door from grape door, is that it snapped off both the wire and this doorknob, because it was said that it was it was the screws at the base are pulled out, meaning that has to be with force, right? It isn't just something you can't just, if you disassemble it or like use a screwdriver. I don't know how anyone would get a screwdriver, but you get the point, right? If you use a screwdriver, there aren't any screws at the base, so the only way to pull a doorknob off with the screws still attached, it had to be with force. So I feel like it has to be that, like, the doors rotate, someone opened through grape door, the doors rotated at that point, making it that, you know, the wire stretches out, and at some point it just gives way, bang, it snaps. Actually, I think it was more like metal wire didn't snap, but the doorknob snapped from the door itself, and that's how Nekomaru fell. And I feel like that's the killing blow as well, that he just fell on his neck or his head, and that's how it got detached. That's how all the oil or the majority of the oil is on the floor and stuff like that. So this was a really good fight by Nagito. A strange feeling, regardless of whether the tower from or whether you enter the tower from Grape Hall or Strawberry Hall, placement of Nekomaru's body, the tipped over pillar, the old stains, and even disassembled, what? Even the disassembled? Is that the I think disassembled, right? I don't know, but anyway, even the parts that were dislocated from parts. What? Even the disassembled Kazuichi arranged look exactly the same. Okay, that, I don't know, that sentence doesn't make fucking sense to me, but whatever. The thing was, right, that regardless of where we entered from, Nekomaru's body and the pillar are the furthest away from the door, which shouldn't make sense, right? Because we moved to the other side. I already kind of explained this before. It's just that I feel like this inner room rotates 180 degrees regardless of which side we enter. So every single time, whether we enter from Strawberry Tower or Grape Tower, the body and the pillar are always the furthest away from it, meaning that it moves. The door moves with, or the room moves with us. That's the key point I feel with that. That's pretty much it. So yeah, I want to say I'm ready, but I feel like there are two theories, right? Either Nekomaru killed himself or someone killed Nekomaru, but the clues are there to actually make this case be almost exactly like how it went with Sakura and Danganronpa 1. I feel like all the clues are there. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if that turns out to be the exact result as well. Oh, people thought they killed Nekomaru, and then he just quote-unquote rises up from the dead, and then at the end he just kills himself rather than someone actually killing him. So yeah, that's where my gut is leading towards, and that would obviously be more of a mindfuck, you know, to actually feel like if everything does happen exactly the same as it did in Danganronpa 1, even though it might give us easy answers, like, oh, to the Clash Royale, oh, we know what's gonna happen in the next one, and the next one, and the next two, right? But the thing about that is the scarier thing about that is, about the big picture, is that, like, how the fuck did Monokuma make sure that everything even went that way, you know? Because we feel that we make every single decision ourselves, but is that then actually true? Like, is what we do, does it actually matter with the outcome? Or is everything already predetermined? Regardless of what we do, the outcome is going to be what it already is anyway. Regardless of, you know, if we actually participated in this killing game or not, that every single sequence would have ended up like it already is. Like, it's just about a matter of control, right? We feel like we at least have some little control over the tiny control that we do have over ourselves. We feel like we have that, but is that actually then true? That's the thing that just makes me question everything about this. Like, how the fuck did Monokuma do that, or whoever is behind this, to make everything exactly like it was in Danganronpa 1? That's just a thing that's gonna blow my mind if it actually does end up being a suicide and everything, you know? Alright, I'm ready. Enough rambling. Let's start the class trial.
Now then, let's begin with a simple explanation of the class trial. During the class trial, you will present your arguments for who the killer is and vote for who done it. If you vote correctly, then only the blackened will receive punishment. But if you pick the wrong person, I'll punish everyone besides the blackened, and that person will earn the right to leave this island. I'm sure you guys are starving by now, but let's get revved up and raring to go!
Well, we kinda just ate before, but I could always eat more.
Whoever survives will be treated to a fancy lunch. Guess what? Rabbit curry is on the menu!
I don't want to eat Monami.
Huh? I'm not the main ingredient, right?
I'm here today because Coach Nekomaru risked his life to protect me. I'm gonna be the one who avenges him. I'll definitely find out who the killer is. I'm definitely not tempted by curry. Got it?
Akane, you seem to have an impressive amount of drool flowing from your mouth.
Yeah, how do you do that, girl?
Hey, why don't we try going over the incident? We weren't able to leave Strawberry House, so I want to make sure we get a detailed understanding.
I discovered Nekomaru's body a little before 7 a.m.
Before 7, okay.
I headed over to Grape Tower from Monokuma Taichi and found the body there. Hajime and Chiaki were also with me.
Hajime was with Miss Sonia and Chiaki that early in the morning?
Oh yeah, are you jelly, Kazuichi?
Don't tell me you three were together since last night!
Who knows?
Imbecile! I am not some woman with flexible legs.
Of
You're
course
not a
you're
Barbie
not.
doll.
You're much classier than that.
With legs like those, I could probably do the splits real easy.
We just happened to run into each other on the first floor of Grape House and went to the tower together.
And then, the three of us discovered Nekomaru's body.
The body discovery announcement was made soon after. Akane heard that and rushed over.
We heard the body discovery announcement too, from Strawberry House, obviously.
Yeah.
As I recall, we found out the elevator was out of order, which left us stuck.
So we decided to go to the tower for the time being and headed for Strawberry Hall. But someone even broke Strawberry Hall's door button. We couldn't go anywhere because of that.
Thinking we should at least find some method to communicate, we set our sights on the lounge telephone.
Forget these boring intros. Let's talk about the killer. Anyway, it's definitely someone from Strawberry House.
Why does she think that?
What do you mean, definitely?
There's no way a chick would kill someone so cruelly. So it must be one of you Strawberry House dudes.
Am I considered a chick now too? Is Hajime considered a chick?
One of you better hurry up and confess, or I'll break all of you in half!
You're the cruelest one here!
Now. Enough with the lovers' quarrel. We need to think about this seriously. We don't have the luxury of discussing irrelevant things. The incident this time has many questions.
Oh yeah, many.
The incident notwithstanding, I also have many questions.
Then let's start with something even Miss Sonia can understand. The weapon.
Wow.
Well, the weapon is obvious, right?
Oh god. I feel like Nagito is just gonna act like kind of, you know, not arrogant, but kind of rude compared to how he would act before towards everyone else. And I think he's gonna do that the entire class trial and just gonna be like, oh no, Nagito.
What the heck, you guys? The weapon! You could totally tell just by looking.
Oh, pretty sure that hammer's just planted there, if that's what he's thinking. You can tell what the weapon is just by looking. It wouldn't be much of a mystery if that were true. The only thing at the crime scene that looked like a weapon was probably... new looking hammer, yeah.
I guess we should figure out the weapon first.
The weapon was right there at the scene of the crime!
That pillar, huh?
No, the hammer! The killer used that hammer and beat the crap out of him!
No.
If it was unexpected, I suppose that is possible.
That's right! It was a surprise beating! The weapon is decided!
No, because the hammer is clean. I mean, it even says new looking, you know? The hammer and the towel was the weapon. Like he said, it looks like that's the case. But...
I guess we should figure out the
weapon was right there.
That pillar.
No, the killer used and beat the crap out of him!
Damn.
No, that's wrong! No, I can't accept that hammer was the murder weapon.
Why not? Why can't you accept it?
A lot of oil was flowing from Nekomaru's body, just like human blood, right? If the hammer was used to beat Nekomaru, you'd expect some oil to be on it at least.
But that hammer was clean. So that's why you can't accept that it's the murder weapon.
Well, yeah, but the killer might have wiped off the oil later.
Why?
Well, obviously, to make the hammer look like it's not the murder weapon.
Then why bother cleaning the oil? If they didn't want it to look suspicious, they would have discarded the hammer.
Exactly.
You're pretty insightful, baby gangsta.
What? Baby gangster?
Baby gangster? Me?
Did they kind of bond in that one-on-one that they had, even though Akane didn't seem present in that conversation at all? That's a nickname you give to kind of a person you consider a close friend, you know?
Just so y'all know, I was trying to test you guys. I thought, maybe you guys mistook the hammer for the weapon or something.
It's a weapon, but not the murder weapon.
It seems that was a waste of time.
Then what was the real weapon used to murder Nekomaru?
That's the problem. There wasn't anything else at the crime scene that looked like a potential weapon.
Then,
Murdered it?
how about we look at it from a different angle? If it doesn't have oil on it, it's not the weapon. So whatever has oil on it must be the weapon, right?
So the pillar. The actual weapon has oil on it. But if it's something at the crime scene that had oil on it, it was the broken pillar, yes.
I see! The only thing with oil on it is that broken pillar.
Then that pillar is the weapon. Coach Nekomaru got clobbered with that pillar.
No, not clobbered.
Nobody could withstand a blow from that pillar.
I mean, why would you even say that, Akane? You and I tried to lift that freaking thing when it was like 1/5 of it, right? How can you even imagine that someone would lift that entire freaking thing to then hit Nekomaru on the head with it?
Even if you used 100% of your muscle strength, it would be impossible to wield it as a weapon.
Yep, even fucking John Cena can't lift that shit, okay?
Why?
We tried to move it, right?
It's no use, it's barely budging. Didn't I tell you?
Yeah, that pillar was pretty freaking heavy. But there's one dude who could have lifted that pillar.
Nekomaru himself?
Huh? Who are you talking about?
Coach Nekomaru's robot body. With that dude's super strength, lifting a pillar would be real easy.
He probably could do it.
So, he lifted the pillar, and then what? Did he use it to beat himself?
You mean Nekomaru killed himself?
Don't be stupid. He ain't the type to commit suicide.
I don't know about that, Akane.
Then even if Nekomaru could have lifted that pillar, it has nothing to do with the case at all.
That's the thing, like, that's kind of what I mentioned right before this, is if the murder does end up being a suicide, it's like, even if you as a person don't seem like you're a person that commits suicide, it's like, how much in control, at least in this situation in Danganronpa, how much are you actually in control of your own destiny? And you know, the choices that you make, does it actually make a difference? That's the thing that I'm just so... That would just something that I would have to reevaluate after this class trial if it turns out to be a suicide. In exactly the way as it happened in Danganronpa 1.
Well, I guess you're right.
What the heck?
But it does bother me a little. That word. Suicide. By the way, the fourth murder of the Killing School Life was apparently ruled a suicide. Huh? Yep. The moment he said that, just like, my mind kind of turned upside down at that point. It's just like, what? Really? Not, I mean actually before that. That he just, when he mentioned that, it's actually fairly similar. And then said that, yeah, oh, the upcoming one is supposed to be a suicide as well. Or at least that's the thought that I came to, you know? It just made me... Because it's just like before, even though it seemed that way, it's like... at least the way I played it is like, I'm kind of really stuck in the moment and trying to figure things out in the now. Obviously, every now and then I'll try and pull stuff from the past when something seems familiar. But I don't try to think too much about everything that's happened in Danganronpa 1, for example. Which is probably why I just didn't think at all that, oh wait, in chapter 3, double murder happened. Hey, wait, that kind of happened in Danganronpa 1 as well, you know? Maybe some people have figured that out, but for me personally, I just didn't really think about it that way and just kind of took it chapter by chapter in a sense, you know? And I almost, not completely, but largely kept Danganronpa 1 and 2 separated, because it's also an entirely new crew, except Byakuya. Everything else felt kind of new, you know? That's why I just... I want to think about it in some way of a continuation of Danganronpa 1, but you can't be sure about that either, so it's just a lot of just vagueness in general of things that you can't be sure about, so you don't know which one of it is right, so you just have to go with either taking things just step by step, or going with one certain theory, and then even despite not knowing if it's the right approach, just going with that full throttle. But I'd rather just do it step by step, because I'd rather look like a full one step at a time rather than looking at a full from the very beginning, just like, no, it's definitely this, and then going with that the entire freaking way, and then at the end it just says like, oh no, it's actually not like that. So I'll just, you know, I don't mind looking like an idiot. Trust me, I do that plenty of times. But I'd rather look, if I'm gonna look like an idiot, I'm gonna be an idiot one step at a time rather than just being an idiot who just sprints to the finish line and just, you know, be an idiot the entire fucking way through. That's my motto to being an idiot.
But that's a problem. If it's not the pillar, then there's no other weapon we can think of.
There may be a way to use the pillar as a weapon without lifting it.
Huh? For reals?
Yes, for reals.
Oh,
I see.
Sonya using
so
slang.
my gut was right after all. All right, it's up to you, Sonya. Prove that pillar was the murder weapon.
It's actually rare that Akane's gut wasn't thinking about food for once. But it's either food or Nekomaru, so yeah.
Understood. Then I shall give it my all. Sonya, here I go!
What is that? Sonya, here I go. Alright, Sonya, blow me away. Open doorknob. I don't know.
There's no need to lift that pillar.
It was about the pillar, so probably
If the pillar was not lifted, beating him with it is beyond a dream.
What about tipping the pillar over? They aimed right for his head and bullseye.
Even I could probably tip it over.
Considering the pillar's weight, it probably exerted a ton of force.
Sonya, you go, girl! I'm getting hella excited!
The killer murdered Nekomaru by tipping over that pillar. Is that really it? But the fragments are
There's no need to lift that
right?
pillar.
Well, I don't think that's
The pillar
true.
was beating him with it is
What about tipping the pillar over?
No, that's wrong! If Nekomaru was crushed by the pillar, then there should have been fragments on top of his body.
Huh? Fragments?
The pillar fragments were scattered beneath Nekomaru's body, but there weren't any on top of his body. If the pillar had been tipped over and crushed him, the fragments should have been on top of his body instead.
I briefly considered that too. But it's probably not what happened.
I see. That was entirely my bad.
No, but like that's the thing about it, right? People feel like they need to be right the entire time, but I don't think it's not bad of Sonya to bring this up, because it's just crossing one more thing of possibilities off of the list, you know, going through all the clues that are presented in front of us, and just trying to think of like, did this happen or did this happen? And like, did it either tip over on top of him or did it not? And then you just have to go through it, think about it, and like, okay, that didn't happen. So even if her thought process and the answer and what she came to wasn't right, it's another thing that brings us closer to the eventual truth. So I feel like she shouldn't feel bad about this in general.
If they didn't tip it over, then how did the killer murder Nekomaru with that pillar?
How much longer are you gonna focus on the pillar? Just let it go already.
Dude, it's very important.
There's no way I can let it go. I'm positive that Nekomaru was killed by that pillar.
Killed? I don't know, but he was definitely hit with the pillar, or he hit the pillar himself.
Why are you so certain about that?
I just have a feeling.
I got a feeling.
A feeling, huh? That's just your instincts.
But we can't say for sure that that instinct is wrong, can we?
Huh?
There's another way to use that pillar to kill. You guys just haven't noticed it.
How then?
Is that true?
Then I shall ask you, what way is that?
You guys... Same as usual. You're unable to clear a path to the future with your own powers, so you just stand there and falter. What a waste of talent. And you all intend to fight the Future Foundation? You make me laugh.
Something has happened with Nagito, man, but I really want to know what the fuck.
What did you say?
Like, what caused him to have, just like, you know, everything, just like the elevator and the tower, like, what caused him to have this complete 180 towards everyone else here?
Regardless, it's not like I want to die with the rest of you. So I guess I should lend a hand.
That's the thing, he says, I don't want to die with the rest of you, whereas before, he intended himself to sacrifice himself for the greater good of hope, being the stepladder, as he called it, right? Being the stepladder for greater hope. Which was, or was in his mind back then at least, supposed to be us, all of the people here, the symbols of hope. But the fact that he says that means that he no longer considers himself below all the people here. Meaning that either all the rest here are not symbols of hope as he thought they were. Like, so my theory back then of that everyone here is actually part of the reserve, at least like the second group, you know, similar as Hajime. Talentless people, or people that don't, their talents aren't good enough to be considered an ultimate, and therefore they aren't directly recruited into Hope's Peak Academy. They just get selected because, I don't know, some real person with talent and a real ultimate decided to drop out or something. Like, we're the second group, you know? We're like the reserve team in that sense. That could cause Nagito to have like a complete 180, or the fact that he is actually, he found out about himself that he is actually has a real valid ultimate rather than just being the ultimate lucky student, you know? That he is actually just is a symbol of hope himself, and the other people are less, therefore he thinks the other people are now lesser than him. That's definitely what he thinks. He thinks the other people are lesser than him, or at least not greater. So it's either he thinks we're all on the same and he's just cocky about it, like, okay, we're all on the same level now, I don't need to sacrifice myself, I don't need to be a step ladder for you guys because I am actually greater hope than you guys, or at least equivalent hope. Or everybody else has been brought down to his level in his mind. So it's either one of those, I feel.
Hey, Nagito.
That caused him to...
What the hell happened to you?
To be the way that he is now and act this way towards everyone else here.
How come you're not talking like a lunatic anymore?
I've learned a valuable lesson. Ignorance is by far the greatest shame.
Huh? What do you mean?
Who cares? Just tell us how the pillar was used to kill!
Well, first of all, the pillar itself is not enough. But when combined with a specific item, there's a way it could be possible.
The pillar combined with something?
A specific item?
Of course, the ultimate weapon.
Ah, the room itself. So what he's trying to say that... right, because that's the thing, right? That was the ultimate weapon was the thing that you found at the end of the life... the final dead room. And I feel like I said back then that like the weapons in the room weren't the ultimate weapons. The ultimate weapon was just the knowledge that you gained from the structure of the building and how everything of this building works. That is the ultimate weapon, and you learn that by looking out that window. It's really strange because to just imagine what would you actually be able to see through that window alone that would give you so much knowledge about it that it can be used as and considered an ultimate weapon, that it just, you know, can make you use it in your advantage to kill someone in a way that everybody else is just like, what the fuck is going on? Because I myself am like, what the fuck is going on exactly with the structure that makes it the way that it is so that it can be used as an ultimate weapon, and that but it has, I feel like it has to have something to do with the fact that it moves in a certain specific way, right? It moves this 180 degrees. So one thing that I was briefly considering is the fact that someone put... The thing that you could do, right? You could put Nekomaru in sleep mode, press the goodnight button, then put him in a specific direction where you think the pillar is gonna... But it didn't really fall over on him, did it? But he said it could be used as a weapon, but he didn't... Or, yeah, but he didn't specifically say falling or tipping or anything like that. But I feel like the way that they used the pillar or made the pillar fall over then was actually the room. It had to be, I think the room and the knowledge that you gain from how the room works exactly and how the entire structure works, that's definitely the ultimate weapon. So that's what he used to make that pillar fall over? But how?
Ultimate weapon?
Isn't that the thing you get when you clear the final dead room?
So, Nagito knows what the ultimate weapon is?
Of course I know. But I'm pretty sure everyone else has seen it, you know?
We have?
We've seen it?
That's right. You've seen it clearly. Because I, the one who has claimed dominion over evil, am the ultimate weapon.
What?
I am he who cuts the insolent catalyst which flows out from the chaos with the sword of victory. It's only fitting that I deserve to be called the ultimate weapon.
No, you are far greater than the ultimate weapon, since you wield your 4 dark devas of destruction.
Okay, Sonia, can you please stop sucking his, you know? Or at least tell me why. Like, what the frick happened between them where Sonia's like latching onto Gundam this strongly and almost like, you know? Before I feel like in the beginning she was actually decently close with Kazuichi, but it was more so that because Kazuichi kind of admired her, right? She was like, oh, my precious loyal queen or princess. And now she's kind of avoided him a bit and is really drawn to Gundam, but why?
I see.
Something has happened between them two.
I don't know why, but I'm not liking this.
Cut the bullshit and say it clearly. What is the ultimate weapon?
Yeah, but what does Gundam mean by that?
In order to clarify that, we first need to solve the secret of the funhouse.
Huh? The secret of the funhouse?
You still don't realize it? Jeez, get it together. You're supposed to be the symbols of hope, aren't you? Ah, I forgot. Except for Hajime, of course.
Okay. So from that, we can clearly say that everybody else here is still considered a symbol of hope. So then something in Nagito's mind happened that made all the other symbols of hope not above him anymore, you know, that they're almost on equal footing or even puts Nagito above them in his own mind.
Except for Hajime?
If we make it out of this, I'll explain it to you guys.
Anyway, we must first clarify the secret of the funhouse, right? Then
Yeah.
I think it must have something to do with the structure of the funhouse.
Very well, Sonia, very good.
Strawberry House leads to Strawberry Tower, and Grape House leads to Grape Tower.
Yeah?
But in actuality, they are both the same building, and both houses are linked to the central tower.
That's what we think, yeah?
It is undeniable that such a sweet building structure is the secret of the funhouse.
Why does she need to say, sweet?
Man, not only does that make perfect sense, but Miss Sonia's beautiful voice is just so soothing.
Especially the sweet.
Faux show! I shall leave this matter to your discretion.
What the fuck? Did she just like watch MTV for the first time or something? Pimp My Ride and she just decided to use all these words? What the fuck? The year 2000 is calling. They want their lines back. What the hell, Sonia? The two houses are connected to the tower in the middle. I thought that at first too, but I ended up finding proof that completely contradicts that. That was we'll probably see it here, strange feeling in the tower.
In truth, Strawberry Tower and Grape Tower are actually the exact same place.
So that's the secret of the funhouse.
Yeah, I guess.
Is that really it?
It's weird to say they're both the same place. I mean, the walls are different colors.
Yeah, but we know why that
And the
is.
designs on the floor are also different.
We also know why that is.
We've already settled this problem. Give it 10 years before you argue with Miss Sonia.
Like, the design isn't the problem. The design and the lights and everything isn't the problem. It was where everything was like how everything was positioned in the room. Like the pillars and the thing that made it, because the pillars are on the same side every single time, so we don't notice it if there's nothing else different in the room, right? If everything is like exactly the same on both sides, when it turns 180 degrees, we don't notice it. But if you put, for example, you know, because one pillar has fallen over on one side, that's a difference between both of those sides. Like if you were to cut each, you know, the tower in half from the middle and then compare both sides, you know, then if both of those sides are not equal to each other, then you will find a difference once it starts turning. But because before the pillar fell over, we didn't see that, we thought it was the exact same, but I don't think it is now then. This whole time we've been thinking the two towers are the same building. But if that was the only mystery, there's no way Nagito would mention it here.
In truth, Strawberry Tower and Grape Tower are actually the exact same place.
Got him away. Damn.
No, that's wrong! Both of those towers, are they really the same place?
Why are you asking that now? Do you harbor a grudge because my kingdom destroyed your homeland?
You did?
Hajime, I won't tolerate any sort of rebellion.
I mean, doesn't it seem strange? When we went to Grape Tower from Grape Hall, Nekomaru's body was in front of the door to Strawberry Hall. But when we went to Strawberry Tower from Strawberry Hall, his body was in front of the door to Grape Hall.
So the easiest deduction to make that just looks very, very clear is that probably the middle tower just did a complete 180, right? But the elevator itself did it too, right? So what if the elevator doesn't... What if when we enter the elevator doesn't actually move, but everything else does? Everything around us moves. So we actually didn't leave the place. We didn't act, but how? How would that... it could be that the entire... No, but the elevator did turn, right? But what if there are two... Okay, no. Fuck. What if there are two house side by side and it just goes over to the other side, but how is Nekomaru then on the other side there as well? No, what the fuck? I don't know. See, this is so difficult to figure out. Can I please just peek through the window? I just wanted to look through the window and look at it, and I was like, and I'll probably get it, because it's so hard to figure this out, really. Oh my god. There's either, okay, if we just bring it back to, like, you know, not trying to figure out the entire thing, but just looking at what has happened, you know, with those two pictures turning, it seems that that middle tower just did a 180, it just flipped side, right? Because regardless on which side we enter, both the fallen pillar and the Nekomaru's body were furthest away from us. Even though on one side, if you enter it from either side, it's supposed to be on one side at least closer to you, right? But the distance was always the same regardless of which side we entered it from. So that means something turned, and the most likely at the moment seems that the tower turns 180 degrees Fahrenheit. No, not
probably
Fahrenheit.
some kind of trick, like the floor rotating 180 degrees or something.
Okay, if Kazuichi is saying that, that means it's definitely not.
If it is, then see? That means it could have passed as the exact same place, right?
Yeah. I mean, like, it's not that that's entirely not the case, but it's just too easy of an answer that it's not exactly the entire answer to everything.
If so, then what? Do you seriously think such a simple answer is the correct
exactly.
answer?
It's too simple.
Does that mean he's wrong?
Oops, I guess I've said too much.
If the floor didn't rotate, then that means we need to think about the structure of the building again.
If the floors didn't rotate, then the buildings rotated, right? I
Bow
guess.
down!
Oh, you want to go at me, Sonia?
Then how about this? Somebody moved Nekomaru's body.
And the blood and the pillar and everything else?
While we were moving from Grape Tower to Strawberry Tower? But we should have all been together during that time. Even if they tried to move the body inside the tower.
Then Monokuma did it. While we were moving, Monokuma quickly moved things around.
But Nekomaru's body wasn't the only thing moved. Are you saying the broken pillar was moved too?
And the oil?
If it is too heavy to carry, let them roll it. Just like if there is no bread, let them eat cake.
What? Where did the cake come from? The real like hole in everything that she said, I feel like is the oil on the floor. Like, yeah, technically, if you have everything in your power,
There
like,
are many different
you could be able
ways.
to move the body and the pillar, but the oil you
The
can't.
body and the pillar could have been moved.
Oh shit!
The pillar could have been
Fuck, what am I
rolled,
doing?
and Nekomaru could have been moved piece by piece.
I
I
forgot.
decree it was Monokuma's doing.
We still made it. Advance.
Moving the body and the pillar in such a short time. That might be hard even for Monokuma, don't you think?
It seems you have forgotten. Monokuma is surprisingly strong, wielding the power of the future with the pillar, the body, everything at the... He could have moved it all, easy as pie.
No. There's definitely a hole in what she just said. I need to show her the evidence that
It
contradicts
seems
that.
you have forgotten.
The everything
Monokuma is
part.
surprisingly strong, wielding the power of the pillar, the body,
Here.
everything at the crime.
Ow.
Allow me to cut through those words!
Chang.
Moving the body and pillar is possible, but it would have been impossible to move the oil on the floor.
Huh?
When the position of Nekomaru's body and the pillar changed, the oil surrounding his body moved too. Physically moving all of the oil like that is simply not possible, no matter how you look at it.
Then it's impossible to think it was moved.
I am terribly sorry. I cannot believe I got so fired up.
At least not physically moved. But at least, or separately moved. Things could have been moved, but then it's the entire plateau, you know, everything that's on that floor has moved. But not the body separately, or the pillar separately, or the oil separately. That all moved together.
It's all right. A fired up Miss Sonia is awesome to watch.
So what really happened? Does that mean the two towers aren't the same building?
We can't be certain of that either. Not when the experiment involving the handbook I left on the tower floor was a complete success.
Yeah, the E-handbook was still there. That's why we thought the two towers were the same building.
But she placed it in the middle, right? She placed it in the middle. So once again, if you place it somewhere in the middle, you'll think like, oh, well, it's the exact same place, or we left it there and it's the exact same place and building and everything. But if you put it, for example, in a corner, then we would have figured out like, hey, why is it still in the furthest corner away from us, or the closest corner away from us, you know?
If they're not the same building or two different buildings, then what are they?
No idea, huh?
Give her time to think, okay, Fuyuhiko? You can't just come up with the answer just like that within 5 seconds. This mystery ties into the secret of the funhouse. But we don't have enough clues to solve that mystery. Then the only thing we can do is rely on the one person who has those clues, and that's Nagito.
Hey, Nagito.
I thought it would come to this. I knew my turn was coming up.
Of course, you're the only one that holds the, well, probably not the only one, but one of the few people that holds the true answers to the structure of this building.
Fine. I'll tell you guys a big hint that can help you solve the secret of the funhouse.
Yes, please, I desperately need it. Give it to me.
Give us the answer, not a friggin' hint.
I mean, I don't mind. A hint is better than nothing, you know? I'll take it. An answer would be the best, but a hint is alright too.
But then it wouldn't mean anything. I need you guys to do this class trial properly.
And to be honest, it's Nagito, right? You don't expect him to give us the answer. He will give you the hint leading to the answer.
It's also important for me because it will help me determine something.
If we're good enough, if our hope is strong enough. Because the thing that I also felt like it's like he's judging us at the moment. Like he's like saying like, are these guys not actually good enough or not? Is he talking about the traitor? If so, why did Nagito say that all of a sudden? Did something happen to him?
But how do we know your hint is any good? It's suspicious that you're the only one who knows it.
I have a good reason for that. The reason I'm the only one who knows it is because I was the only one who performed the appropriate action.
Yeah, the clearing the final dead room. He performed the appropriate action in order to clear the secret. Could he be talking about... well, definitely life-threatening game, yeah. Monokuma Taichi, come on, we all did that together.
I see!
You're talking about the final dead room, right? You cleared the life-threatening game there and found something, didn't you?
Yep, that window.
That's right. The hint is what I saw
window.
after I cleared it. In the depths of the final dead room, there was a hidden room surrounded by concrete. And there, a small conspicuous window waited, all by itself.
Come on, let me peek through. Just a tiny peek. Even a half second, that's fine.
From that window, I saw some very strange scenery.
Scenery?
Strange scenery?
Instead of explaining it, it might be faster just to show you.
Okay.
At an opportune time, I found a perfect camera in the final dead room.
Oh, did he take pictures?
You took a picture?
Yep.
Oh, that's really cool. That's really good. Nagito grinned creepily as he retrieved a small digital camera from his inner pocket.
See? This is it.
As he said that, he showed us a peculiar picture. Oh, here we go.
Let me explain it to you again.
Okay. But this looks kind of how we think it does, right? Kind of.
I took this picture on the first floor of Strawberry House, from the secret room within the final dead room.
True, it's the first floor and it's above the trees. That's really weird.
But don't you think it's weird?
Yeah.
If the funhouse's structure is what you guys have been thinking, then there's lots of things that don't make sense in this picture, right?
Mm-hmm. Lots of things that don't make sense in this picture?
Then let's begin. Shall I call it thinking time?
Why not drinking time? I like that name better. I feel like that's probably what I need to do after I'm done with this. Drink my sorrows away. What? What doesn't make sense in this picture? Spot selection. Definitely the fact that the trees and the fact that we can look above, like, if this is the first floor, you're not supposed to be seeing the top of these trees and definitely not the sky at all. So I think the sky is one thing.
If the structure of the funhouse is what we thought it was, Grape House and Strawberry House should link to the tower in the middle.
Oh, the important thing, like the thing that connected in the middle, seemed to be a square box as well, rather than, or a square, you know, rather than a circle.
Which means, if you're viewing the tower from Strawberry House, you should see Grape House behind it. But in this photo, I don't see anything behind the tower. No shadow, no shape, no Grape House at all.
Wait, what? I thought that that building in front of us is Grape Tower. Am I looking at it completely? I thought like the layout kind of matches. It's just weird that we're on the first floor and we see sky and tops of trees when in fact we should only be seeing like the tree trunks and everything. We shouldn't be even able to barely see any sky at all. I don't see anything behind the tower. Because I thought that we're in Strawberry right now, and if we're looking at the window, it could be a window that's pointed towards Grape House, and then that round building is Grape. Or is that the... that could be the tower as well. Oh, okay. Fuck, I'm stupid. Okay. So that box there in the middle, that's definitely that's the hall. Yeah, that's Strawberry Hall leading to the middle tower. And this is the middle tower indeed. Okay, that's the tower, yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, okay, that's the middle tower, and then behind that is supposed to be Grape House, which isn't there apparently. Because we don't see any shadows or what. Oh, yeah, okay. Because it's supposed to continue after that, right? We think that it's one straight line. This is one corridor, this is Strawberry Hall, and then behind that should be another hall, and there should be the building behind it. Okay.
I see. And is that it?
I just thought like the location of everything was kind of the weirdest. Or that we're that high up even though we think we are on the first floor. Nagito said there's lots of things that don't make sense in this photo. Which means there are other contradictions contained in it. What doesn't make sense? I guess it's the trees. Why are we seeing trees here? Top of the trees rather.
Here!
You said this photo was taken from the hidden room inside the final dead room, right? If that's the case, then that means it should have been taken from the first floor of Strawberry House.
Yeah, it should have been.
Then, this is definitely strange. This photo doesn't look like it was taken from the first floor. The angles suggest it was taken from higher up.
That's right. Good call.
Oh! What if it's... Oh, what? But both things have 3 floors. I thought they were like... You know, one thing that I know for sure is that they're not parallel. You know, they're not the same on both sides. It's not... We think it's like, oh, on the right side we have Strawberry House, on the left side we have Grape House. But I think we can pretty much cross it off the list. I think they're both sort of on the same level. Maybe next to each other, maybe even, I thought on top of each other, but then you would have, because both have 3 floors, then you would have 6 floors on top of each other, but how would that exactly work? And then the elevator would go up and down, and there were no vibrations, so... I feel like they're kind of side by side, they're not, like, there's not one straight line. Huh.
In summary, this is the truth contained in this photo.
I mean, it could make sense, the Grape Tower, okay, the Grape Tower... Or Grape House, rather, is like the bottom floor, and on top of that is Strawberry House. I guess? I don't know.
The first floor of Strawberry House is located in a high area, and Grape House is not behind the tower.
Yeah?
It's not? Are you saying that Grape House is merely an illusion spell cast by Monokuma's cursed eye?
No, it's not an illusion. It's just not located where we think it's located on that map.
From this point on, do your own thinking. Now that you've finally met the same requirements as me. If you guys are truly symbols of hope, you can easily solve a simple mystery like this. It might be possible for Hajime to solve it too, even though he's just a normal high school student.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that you don't have a real talent, you already know about the other clue.
Other clue? Is he talking about that one time? Why, hello there. Oh, the fact that he appeared here, right. Naito, why are you here? That's sudden appearance. Because I showed up, you showed up, why did you even come here? Maybe I teleported.
You're referring to when you suddenly appeared on the 2nd floor of Grape House, right?
I'm asking you just to be safe. At the time, where do you think I came from?
The top floor, right?
Such sharp eyes. So you realized it already?
Top floor. So the 3rd floor?
But the Monokuma archive should be the only room on the 3rd floor of Grape House.
What does it mean?
The buildings, I feel like they're like right next to each other or something like that. What was that thing just now? Another hint of figuring out the mystery behind the fun's house structure? The reason Nagito appeared from the 3rd floor. Using the photo we took, I might be able to answer if I just think about it. Alright, let's do it. What are we gonna do? Oh, logic dive. I love logic dive. This is I really think this is cool actually. Whoop! Shoop the loop, whoop, boop. Oh shit. Dodge. I'm not gonna be cocky this time and fall off. I promise. Oh shit! I'll bounce into things though. Like, they appear at the last fucking second. The Strawberry House and Grape House both exist. They definitely both exist. That I am certain of. They definitely both exist. Yeah. What? Come on! Stop appearing out of fucking nowhere, man. Pew. Question 2. A Strawberry House and Grape House the same buildings or two different buildings? I think they're the same building, right? I feel like they are the same building. I think they are. They're not different buildings, or they are different buildings but are in different locations. But it actually makes more sense if they're the same building, because that makes it easier for Nagito to travel as well. And it kind of makes sense with the elevator too. Then I think they're the same building. Yeah. Okay. Gotta be careful. Like, things just appear out of freaking nowhere! Oh my god. Come on, man. Alright, question 3. How are Strawberry House and Grape House positioned with each other? Horizontally would be right next to each other, right? Vertically is on top? That's vertically is on top of each other, right? Horizontally is like, it's like the horizon, it's like right next to each other, it's in a straight line. I don't think that's the case. Cause he traveled... I think it's vertically. I think it's vertically. Oh yes. Oh my god.
It's all coming together! Got it. I know the secret of the funhouse.
Really trying to figure out, picture it in my mind, how exactly
Then
it
let
would
me
work.
hear it. What kind of answer will you give, I wonder?
In the picture Nagito took from Strawberry House, I didn't see Grape House at all. So where did Grape House go? There was only one possibility. It was in a position where it couldn't be seen from Strawberry House. Which means Strawberry House and Grape House are in the same building, but on different floors.
So it is, as
Same
I
building,
thought before.
different floors?
I had it right enough.
Then the two houses aren't two different 3-story buildings.
It's one building, 6 stories.
They're actually one 6-story building?
Fuck, I had it right and then I changed my mind. God damn it.
If you think about it like that, based on Nagito's picture, it's clear where Strawberry House is located.
Okay, and then Strawberry House is on top indeed, because it's even though it's called the first floor, it's technically in the 6-story building, it's the 4th floor. Strawberry House is the floors above Grape House.
I see!
On top of Grape House. That's where Strawberry House is located. Because of that, the photo taken from the first floor of Strawberry House was at a high angle. Altogether,
Of course.
this means the first floor of Strawberry House is also the 4th floor above Grape House.
When I thought it at that point, I was just like, yeah, I don't know, that's maybe a bit too ridiculous, but exactly the truth.
Oh, snap! I never expected that the two houses were connected vertically.
What happened with Sonia as well, right? Did she travel back in time or something? What?
But what about the shape of the building? The two houses were completely different shapes.
Or is she a robot and her software like malfunctioned or something? Her software is like they accidentally put in software from like dictionary words and lingo that they used in the 2000 rather than the today's present, or like words that normal human beings use right now.
Strawberry House is 4-sided, and Grape House is 6-sided, right?
It never occurred to us that they were the same building because it was structured with two different shapes.
That just means that like it's all inside this box, but you know they just don't use the space efficiently. It's just like yeah, it's the shape is inside of a box basically.
A quadrilateral and a hexagon, overlaid atop each other to misdirect how we would perceive them. And it worked, didn't it?
Yep.
Disregarding the tower, we fully believed the two houses were two separate, distinct buildings.
In order to conceal the unique design of the funhouse, Monokuma put us to sleep so we couldn't look at the outside of the building when he brought us to it.
You've just been Kuma'd!
Don't make that a thing. Please don't make that a thing.
Don't you think a building full of so many surprises totally deserves to be called a fun house?
Then it's true? The building was really like that?
That's right! Those two houses exist on different floors in the same building!
Constructing a building like that on your own without my knowledge? How horrible!
Then what about the towers? Are they arranged vertically just like the houses?
Yeah, Strawberry Tower and Grape Tower should have also been different floors inside the same building. Just like Strawberry House was on top of Grape House. Strawberry Tower was also on top of Grape Tower.
However, if they're different floors within the same building, why was Nekomaru's body in both places?
I think it just it traveled up. It travels up and down.
Aw, your precious hammies don't know? But it's so simple. Alrighty then. I'll be the one who solves this mystery in a flash. Please watch me, Miss Sonia.
Alright, let's give Kazuichi a moment to shine. Go ahead, Kazuichi.
Oh, I see. Do whatever you like.
See, normally she wouldn't be this almost cold towards Kazuichi. But like something happened that made her both be act very close and almost like lovey-dovey towards Gundam, and at the same time also act very cold towards Kazuichi.
I will definitely make her watch me. I'm gonna stand out till she notices me.
Before she at least, like, you know, Kazuichi's all like notice me senpai mode right now, but before at least Sonia senpai noticed him a little bit, but now it's like not at all. Night button, doorknob. It's about the towers, right? I mean, a broken doorknob could be.
I'm gonna solve this mystery in a flash.
Then hurry up, dumbass!
One of the bodies in one of the towers was actually a dummy.
Okay, I can already click this already. I don't need to see the
that's
rest.
wrong.
That's fucking not true, of course. Dude.
Nekomaru's body wasn't a dummy. That can be proven by Kazuichi's account.
Your own account.
Huh? Me?
Remember? When we moved from Grape Tower to Strawberry Tower, we thought the body had moved. And that's when you said...
Not just that, the parts that I carefully arranged when I disassembled the body all moved too.
Right up until that moment, you were disassembling Nekomaru's body at Grape Tower,
Yeah.
right?
So, how can you both disassemble, like, you know, if you disassemble the real body at Great Tower, then the supposedly dummy at the other tower can't be the exact same thing with the same disassembling parts on other sides, you know?
The killer couldn't have known how you'd take apart his body, so they couldn't have built a dummy.
I'm building a dummy in this place is kinda, how the hell would you do that in the first place, you know?
Unless Kazuichi was the one who built the dummy, then it would be a different story.
Maybe, but how would he build a dummy in the first place? Like, there aren't any tools here to do so.
Miss Sonia, that's a pretty harsh joke.
She ain't kidding, bro.
You are joking, right?
It's alright. Kazuichi is not the killer.
The strangest thing about this, right, for me personally, is that it doesn't quite it doesn't click for me yet. Like, even though we figure out the structure of the buildings, right? Why? I don't quite figure out why certain things moved in 180 degrees. Why did the elevator move in 180 degrees? Like, it's supposed... I guess it's just to... No, but we wouldn't be able to feel that regardless, right? We're in an elevator, we're in a closed-off area, regardless of which direction it kind of moves. And it moved pretty slowly, that's why it probably doesn't vibrate. It moves smoothly, so we wouldn't know which direction we were going in the first place. So why did it go 180 degrees? That's the part that doesn't click for me yet with how we know the structure of the building is right now.
If he was, he wouldn't have fixed the elevator or the button in Strawberry Hall. It'd be much more convenient for the killer if it stayed broken.
I see. That is disappointing.
Yeah, it's disappointing and Kazuichi isn't the killer.
I'm even more disappointed.
I feel for you, Kazuichi. I actually feel a little bit bad for him, you know? It's not like I was rooting for him, and I never thought that Kazuichi ever had a chance with Sonya, but this is just a little bit cruel, you know? It's like your bro seeing him getting shut down by the girl of his dreams. It's actually literally that, but in this scenario, the girl of his dreams is just leagues above him, so you knew he didn't have a chance either way, but you never thought this would happen to your friend, at least not like this, so you just feel bad for him.
However, even if Nekomaru's body wasn't a dummy, it's meaningless if we don't have the important answer.
The reason Nekomaru's body was in both towers, even though it was supposed to be on different floors.
Maybe it was simply moved?
The body moved to a different floor?
Yeah, I think that the tower has an elevator as well. It just goes up and down.
You can't think of a device like that? A device that moves things to different floors in the same building?
Device? Can't you just say elevator, Chiaki? What? A device like that? A device that transports things to different floors in the same building. Is it that hard to just say elevator? I feel like I've seen that before. Alright, let's do this. Are we gonna get a hangman's gambit about this? Okay, this is definitely, it's gotta be. If it's not elevator, I'll chop something off. E-L-E-V, I think, yeah, this gotta be elevator. Go elevator.
I got it! You must be talking about an elevator.
Did we really need a hangman's gambit about that?
What? Are you saying Nekomaru's body was transported using an elevator?
Where the hell is this elevator anyway?
It's the tower itself. The inside of the tower is one big elevator. Which means the tower was designed so that the whole room goes up and down like an elevator.
And that's the transition period, remember? Remember, I kind of thought that it was the transition period between, like, switching things over, switching the lights over, and everything like that. It was actually just the elevator traveling from Grape Tower to Strawberry Tower, and vice versa. It's just that transition period. It's basically just the elevator going up and down to the designated floor it needed to go.
So whether you enter from Strawberry Hall or Grape Hall, it all leads to the same room, right?
So that's why we could only enter it from one side or the other.
Now that you mention it, sometimes when I pressed the door button, it took a while for it to open.
I see. We were basically waiting for the room to arrive, just like an elevator.
Please hold on. If the inside of the whole tower ascends and descends like an elevator...
One thing I gotta say though, they did an amazing job at selling it off like it's two separate buildings. And that, like, you know, the first floor of the Strawberry Tower, it actually just felt like it's the first floor on a separate building. They did a really, really great job of that, because that's definitely what I sort of thought at the beginning. Even though at the end we sort of knew it was, something was off about everything, I didn't actually think that it was one whole building, at least not at the beginning. So they did a really great job of that.
Then why is there a picture of a strawberry on the far back door when you enter from Grape Tower?
I guess that's the part that has to rotate, right? Or not?
and a picture of a grape on the far back door when you enter from Strawberry Tower.
If the room just moves up and down like an elevator, there's no reason for the doors to change.
But the elevator rotates as well. So this elevator...
Plus, after the incident, the far back door in Grape Tower had chains wrapped around it, right?
Yeah, and then it disappeared.
But when we entered Strawberry Tower, those chains were gone.
Not just that, but if I remember correctly, even the doorknob was broken off.
That's because it definitely turned as well.
There are too many strange things. Was that tower really an elevator?
When you see people and things, make sure you focus on the good parts instead of the bad.
What did you say?
So, let's put aside what's changed and focus our attention on what hasn't.
Why do we have to do that?
It's fine. Come on. What does everything that hasn't changed have in common?
Everything that hasn't changed? The things that didn't change when we moved between the two towers. The body pillar. Oh fuck, I didn't read that. There shouldn't be anything strange about them. Not even the fact that they all move with the other. It's everything that's, it's like, you know, it's attached on the floor. It's on the floor level. The one thing that these all have in common is they were all huge, they were all heavy, they were all... they were all on the floor.
I see!
Is it safe to say that all the items on the floor didn't change?
And?
And?
Why did the picture on the far back door change? If you can figure that out, you'll have the answer.
Oh! Ah!
The reason is because that elevator has something unique about it.
I think I know. I think only the floor of the elevator moves. So basically at the top, if you know where the elevator is going to stop, you just have like a fake door on one side. Even though you know that door is never going to be opened and entered, it's just to give us the illusion that on the other side is supposed to be where Strawberry Hall leading into Strawberry House is. But that door is actually just a door that leads to nowhere. It doesn't even open. So I think the floor only moves, and just it gives us the illusion that on the other side, oh, there's a door that leads to that place, when it just isn't. So I think only the floor of the elevator goes up and down, and not the entire building, you know? There's not like an elevator, it's just the only floor level, with everything on top of it goes up and down. There's something unique about that elevator. You can only enter one side at a time. That is kind of unique, but it's gotta be this. It's an enormous circle. There's no ceiling, only the floor moves.
I see!
So that's it. The elevator was designed so only the floor moved.
Only the floor moved?
Which means the whole room wasn't an elevator, only the floor was. That's why we saw different doors in each tower. Which means on the first floor of Grape Tower, the door on the far back wall had a strawberry design. And on the fourth floor, which was Strawberry Tower, a different door on the far back wall had a grape design.
Then, where do the different floors lead?
Nowhere.
I want to say they lead outside, but they're probably just for show.
Yep.
Just for show? Why was something like that necessary?
To make us think that that it was a connecting hallway with the tower in the middle, rather than one-story building with six, that they're both on top of each other.
So we'd falsely believe that the doors were connected to where their picture signified. It was actually very effective. Because of that, we totally misunderstood the building's structure.
Yep, they did such a good job at just fooling us that way.
I don't get it. But I guess it means whoever designed this building had a totally twisted personality.
You call it twisted, I call it genius.
Did you hear that, Monami?
Don't blame this on me. Take responsibility for yourself.
Then I'll take responsibility and gently caress you.
Caress you. Do you like that, Monomi?
Like, there's no way that's gonna happen. Stop with the tasteless jokes.
Aren't you supposed to be brother and sisters too? What?
By the way,
Is that
what
an
does the
incest
chain on the
joke?
far back door in Grape Tower mean?
It was probably wrapped there by the killer to keep us as far from Strawberry Tower as possible.
Why?
Because of that chain. You guys thought you couldn't enter there, right?
Like you said, I could probably use these parts to repair that button, but seriously, hold on. Even if you do repair the button, what's going to happen to the chain on the other side of the door? Chain? Door that leads to structure has a chain wrapped around the doorknob. Even if you fix the button on the Strawberry Hall side, the door won't open as long as the chain is there. You don't need to worry about that at all. Huh?
The killer destroyed the Strawberry Hall button, so we'd stay away from Strawberry Tower. Everything was done to tamper with the evidence, so we wouldn't find out about the secret of the funhouse. The appearance of a body in the tower would contradict what we thought we knew about the building.
Uh-huh. Meaning that the murderer also knew about the secret of this building. That's one thing we can conclude for sure. Definitely. Otherwise, there's no reason for them to do that, because they would think similar like us that the structure of this building is actually like this and not on top of each other. So the killer has that knowledge, whether it's Nekomaru killing himself or someone else killing Nekomaru. The killer has that knowledge, meaning that also the killer is the one that went through the final dead room to gain that information.
In that situation, if we'd gone to Strawberry Tower, we'd have seen that contradiction firsthand. And using that as a clue, we might have discovered the truth.
Yep, and that's the reason why, like, in the beginning, during investigation, I was so, like, I couldn't figure out at all, why did they have to both chain the door and break the button on, you know, on either side? Just doing one of those should be plenty if the structure is how we think it is, but because it isn't, and it gives away indeed it shows the contradiction of the building and how we think the structure is, they were sort of forced to do that on both sides so we wouldn't discover it. Because once we enter it from Strawberry Towers, it's like, boom, okay, we should be able to figure it out, or at least we'll know something is amiss, something is strange. And the killer didn't want that.
The truth that the two houses and the two towers are actually one complete vertical building. The killer wanted to keep us from learning that. That's why they made us stay away from Strawberry Tower.
They destroyed the button and wrapped a chain around the door just for that?
Would it really have inconvenienced the killer if we learned the true structure of the building?
Yeah.
It would have been a major inconvenience.
Of course.
After all, this funhouse is strongly connected to the ultimate weapon that killed Nekomaru.
So the ultimate, he is saying that the ultimate weapon killed Nekomaru.
Hold on. You're progressing much too quickly. There's still a contradiction concerning the building structure.
What a pain. It's fine already.
Gundam, please proceed.
See? She's signing with Gundam here. Poor Kazuichi, man.
You said earlier that Strawberry House and Grape House are connected vertically, right? If so, how does the contact elevator supposedly transport us from one house to the other?
I guess vertically as well. I see. Now that you mention it, I completely forgot about that matter.
If that elevator moves vertically,
Wait.
then when your back is facing the elevator, both towers should be on the same side.
So that's why it turns 180. It goes like a
But
loop or something.
does this reflect reality?
It goes the other way around. It has to, because otherwise you think that, hey, what? We're on the wrong side.
Inside Grape House, Grape Hall is on your right when your back is to the elevator.
So it goes to the other side of the building.
And inside Strawberry House, Strawberry Hall is on your left when your back is to the elevator.
So that's the reason why it turns 180.
Which means the houses are on exact opposite sides of the tower. Answer me, fiend! What does this mean?
What does this mean?
What? So I agree. What does this mean? If the two houses are connected vertically, the position of the tower should be the same in both houses. But in fact, when my back was facing the elevator in the grape house, the tower was on my right side. And when my back was facing the elevator in Strawberry House, the tower is on my left. How can I break through this contradiction? It has to have to do with the fact that it turns 180 for certain, was Nagito told Kazuichi to be in charge of that.
If the two houses are connected vertically.
The elevator should move.
Vertically, not horizontally.
No.
However, at both houses, if the contact elevator is behind you, the towers are in opposite directions.
Which means your reasoning
It's clearly contradictory.
What's with this iron curtain of teamwork?
I know, right? This tag team. So Gundam and Sonya have matching arguments. It sounds like it makes sense, but I don't think it moves vertically. Is that really correct?
If the two houses are connected vertically.
At least.
The elevator should move.
Vertically, not horizontally.
No, that's wrong!
Boom.
The elevator wasn't just moving vertically. Isn't that right, Kazuichi?
Huh? Me?
You know.
Come on. You used the elevator while you were holding that compass Nagito gave you, right?
Ah, that. Yeah, it was pretty strange. From start to finish, somehow the compass needle rotated 180 degrees.
Rotated 180 degrees?
Meaning, as the elevator moved between the two houses,
It went to the other side.
it also rotated 180 degrees. It was probably following the building's perimeter as it rotated to the other side.
Yep.
Which means the exit would be on the opposite side once you arrived at the other house, right?
And thanks to that, the tower we saw on our right side when we arrived at Grape House appeared on our left side when we were at Strawberry House.
An elevator that rotates while it moves. Is that even possible? It's like something from an amusement park.
Where the fuck did you think we were, for Yuhiko? The funhouse wasn't an amusement park.
Well, a funhouse is an amusement park attraction, you know. And since the building doesn't really need to be structurally practical, it makes for some splendid fun.
That's not splendid at all. You're inhuman.
I mean, it's called funhouse for a reason, right?
You say I'm inhuman, but I'm just a bear. So I was never human to begin with. I'm different from these lowly humans.
So we're done with the secret of the funhouse, right? Then let's start talking about the important stuff. What's the ultimate weapon that killed Nekomaru? And how'd they combine it with the pillar?
Huh? You still don't know what the ultimate weapon is yet? It's what I found at the Octagon, you know.
Octagon.
What is the Octagon? I haven't heard about that yet.
Oh my... I can't believe I have to explain that now. As long as you know what an Octagon means, you can solve this simple mystery easily.
What an octagon means? 4-sided, 6-sided, 5... It's 8, right? Octagon is 8-sided shape because Octomom had 8 kids, not 8 moms. Octomom had 8 kids, and I was, yeah, definitely.
I see!
If I recall, an octagon is a shape with 8 sides, right?
I didn't expect you to know that. For a substitute reserve course student, you're quite knowledgeable.
Come on, Nagito! Stop throwing that in our face!
I guess I should continue listening. Where is the place befitting of the name Octagon?
Like, it seems so unnecessary for him to call it out every single time, you know, because we said ourselves, and the strangest thing is about that nobody seems to react to Nagito saying those things to Hajime either, right? But we ourselves said, like, alright, if we survive this, we'll explain it to everyone. So, like, everybody's alright, okay, we won't get further into that. But Nagito keeps bringing it up, though, because obviously to him it's very important. The place befitting of the name Octagon. It's probably... So we have to select a spot. But Octagon, I mean, 1, 2, 3... This is not an octagon, though. Is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That would just be 6. But this is not octagon.
Here!
Is that it? Like, it's kind of...
You're talking about the secret room surrounded by concrete in the depths of the final dead room.
It has to fit in that area, right? That octagon room or whatever, it has to fit in that open space where, like, the grape house is bigger than the strawberry house.
Why is that place the octagon?
You know how the 4-sided strawberry house is on top of the 6-sided grape house? If you cut a 4-sided shape out of a 6-sided one, you get 8 edges. It becomes an 8-sided shape.
That's basically the gist of it.
Yeah, definitely what I had in mind. Definitely.
The true identity of the octagon is that secret room in the depths of the final dead room. In actuality, that place contained various weapons.
Then the ultimate weapon was there too?
That's a little different. I learned the true identity of the ultimate weapon at the octagon.
Yeah, the ultimate weapon isn't one of the weapons in the room.
Learned?
The true identity of the ultimate weapon is the funhouse.
Funhouse itself. Yeah, so it's basically the knowledge that they've gained from there.
Which means the killer used the building structure as their weapon and killed Nekomaru. Like me, the killer probably realized the secret of the funhouse from the scenery. And then thought of a way to kill making use of the building structure.
So yeah, that's one thing that I feel like I was kind of correct with the quote unquote murder weapon, or at least what the ultimate weapon was. It's just the knowledge that they found about, like, oh, this is how it actually is, it isn't how we think it is, so I can use that to my advantage.
The funhouse itself is the weapon. So they killed using the building structure?
Yeah, because that's just a significant advantage that person has over everyone else, because nobody else, unless they completed the life-threatening game themselves, knows what the real structure of the building is, right?
That's why the killer tried to keep us from learning the mystery of the building. But more importantly, using the building itself as a weapon? Such a spectacular crime. It truly deserves to be called the ultimate weapon.
The funhouse is the true identity of the ultimate weapon? What does this mean? How did the killer use that to murder Nekomaru? I feel like it's the wire. The wire is definitely attached to that door handle, and I guess when the elevator goes down, it just snaps off, and then it makes Nekomaru fall down, and then bam, he fell down, broke his neck, or, like, you know, his head he landed on his head. And who is the killer? Who did that? Who, indeed?
Hiya!
Why, hello there! I thought of a new bad word to call Monami! I can already tell that I won't be pleased by this. Then let me say it right away.
I'm already used to insult and slander. There's no way I'll get hurt by a mere word.
Monami is a serious Stu-fatly.
That's much more straightforward than I expected. Stu-fatly, huh?
The fuck is a Stu-fatly? Stupid, fat, and ugly? Okay, I figured it out. Stupid, fat, and ugly mixed together into one word, Stu-fatly. That's not it. That's not it at all. Stupid, fat, and ugly. The perfect jet stream attack incorporating all three of these words would be, or all three of these would be, ta-da! Stu-fatly.
Huh?
Oh, there's a fat hidden in there?
Okay, everyone, all together now. Monami is a serious Stu-fatly.
No. If anyone else said that as well, shame on you. If anyone said that out loud,